Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of PKM Weekly. So lots of things happening in the past week, so let's get right into it. Obsidian, they've released version 1.9.2. It is only an insider version still, and it includes lots of updates to the basis formula syntax, and now the formulas are that they're more flexible, easier to use, and better suited for extensibility. And some of the highlights that the team has implemented are the functions are now object-orientated. So you just need to change slightly the syntax. So rather than contains file name books, it would be file.name contains books. Another great addition is that functions can be chained together. Properties are no longer wrapped in backticks. New functions with links, dates, and things, so you can do different types. And you can play around with various different days if you want to modify what there is, and call functions off those ones. So the documentation has also been updated. So you can see you now got date, if, which did exist before, but I think this documentation has been made slightly clearer. So you can run if condition that, if not, give me the result false. Max, mins, links, lists now, and you can do a lot of things with dates as well. So you can pull out the month, year, day, hour, etc. And you can also do date arithmetic. So for example, one of the examples they give is if you want to do date plus 1m, that will add 1 month to the date of what you're pulling out. So lots of extensibility being implemented in Obsidian bases, and I can't wait to see where they're going to end up. In addition with that, they've changed the file format, so it's a .base now, and that's been updated for greater extensibility, as we spoke about earlier, and just making things a lot more future-proof. And this image here was one that I believe Tana posted, and it just goes to show that he has gone wild with the bases. So he's got a base for about everything, which I think is great. I'm slowly getting there as well. And you can see you've got posts, journals, products daily, books, places, movies, etc. And then you can show whatever you want in the base from the different properties that you run on the pages. So great stuff on that one. And then I did a great video, I'll not ashamed to say. It's an on this day query, and it basically allows you to run bases to retrieve on this day journal pages. So for example, 8th of June 2024, 2023, 2022, whatever it might be. So on this day in the historical or future. And it's just done by a bases query, which is relatively straightforward. It just does an if with an embedded if to then return a yes, no, which then you can filter on. So if you want to have an on this day query in your database on your Obsidian Vault, do check this out, as I think it's quite good, if I may say so myself. Thanks for that. And then the community, they've done data view to bases. So one of the great things about the Obsidian community is that they're always on the ball. So with the changes that have been implemented within bases and the features that it has possible, a user created a convert data view queries into Obsidian bases format. So if you slowly want to move away from data view and you want to use the bases, definitely do check this out, because he does go through how you can use it. You just need to paste your query, and that's going to retrieve the converted bases YAML, which then you just need to paste in your a .base Obsidian file. So great stuff on that one. And if you were playing around with 1.9.0, there are a few tweaks that have been done to the formula syntax, so you do need to just update it to 1.9.2. And this one allows you to do the same thing, the same tool that you can change your formulas for the new updated one. So great stuff from the community there. Another good one was the RSS dashboard. So this was in beta for a while, or in alpha I should say, and now the beta version is finally here. So it basically is a plugin that allows you to bring your favorite RSS feeds together. And the best way is just to look at the image that he's posted. So this is pulling up various different YouTube videos, which I'm guessing he's got an RSS feed about pulling them in with engineering comments or tags and various different other things that they're interested in. So definitely do check this out if it's something that you're interested and you're a big fan of RSS feeds. And you can find the download link here and a demo video and the Reddit post where he explains the whole thing. So definitely worthwhile having a look into it if you want to have a place to bring your RSS feeds together. And Obsidian, still there's a course, or there's also Sonny. Octarine also has started to advertise a course, How to Take Smart Notes with Obsidian. So it's the course that's been billed as the companion course to the book, How to Take Smart Notes, and it basically applies through the principle of Zetcasting using the versatile Obsidian app, designed for thinkers and writers and all sorts of people in between. And the things that it's going to look at is setting up your digital Zetcasting, mastering the basics, connecting ideas and boosting creativity, navigating challenges, and creating meaningful content. It is $250 and it will increase in July to $330. So if it is something that you're interested in, definitely do check it out now before the price increases. And if you go to the link, you've got a little bit more information of what you will learn, what the course is, and what's included. So do check that out if you're interested. And last up for Obsidian is the Obsidian plugin showcase. Great weekly posts from OP, and they've basically looked at the plugins which have taken their interest this week. I've just put 7 here, but in the actual article they do look at a few more. So it just goes through them and explains what they are, how you can use them, and a bit of an image to showcase them. So definitely worthwhile following Obsidian journey if you're interested in the plugins that are being developed and updated. That brings us nicely to Logseq with lots of updates happening. So the FeatDB obviously was merged and the team has published a little bit of an update of what they've been doing and some of the things that they still need to do. So definitely do check out the GitHub post if you're interested in keeping an eye on what's happening. But more importantly, on the Logseq one is Tiensim. He's just posted a brief demo of the new mobile app. It is still being worked on and it should be with us soon. Tiensim writes weeks. So hopefully by the end of June, early July, it should be with us. And you can check out in the video here of the types of things that you will be able to do within the mobile app itself. So you can do tasks, you can see the embeds, see the links, see the databases, and lots of things. And it is still a work in progress, so I'm sure they'll add even more functionality between now and when it's released. So great stuff from the Logseq team. And of course, if that wasn't enough, they've also announced that if everything goes well, we'll plan to test the mobile app and RTC this month. So obviously the RTC should be with us in the next few weeks, and real-time collaboration should also be something that we should be able to test, let's say June/early July. So lots of things happening in the world of Logseq, so definitely one to get back and on top of. Capacities. Beth did a video on 4 more ways you can use queries in Capacities. Queries, I should say, are a Capacities Pro feature, so they're not available to everyone. You need to be a pro or a believer to have access to queries. But the video showcases 4 ideas that you can do: tag reviews, weekly reviews, all meetings for the person, and query dashboards, and various different other things. So if you are interested in queries in Capacities, definitely do check this video out because it should give some insight and some ideas of how you can use them and just get the most out of them. And then there was a little bit of a latest update through the grapevine that Capacities, they've been working on some substantial performance updates. So it's going to change how the way data is processed on our devices, which they believe has resulted in significant app improvements and just being more performant in general. So it's not released yet, but hopefully it's going to be with us soon. And also the developers have been working on significant mobile improvements, including a redesigned UI UX for single and multi-select, tags, collections, space pickers, and other enhancements. If you do want to learn more, just do a quick Google search on Capacities updates and you should find something, probably a link that the devs don't want published, but I have told them a good few weeks ago and it's still there. So just something to keep in mind, that everything on the internet is there forever. Moving on to Tana. Tana Note Taker. This is a bit of a game changer, I think. So the way the devs write it up, if you're tired of having that pesky bot in your one-to-one meetings, absolutely. I hate having, when you're on Teams or something, the Tana bot or Tana something. Well, now they've managed a way that you can get rid of that, and it will basically record, transcribe your meeting without really anyone knowing that you've got a bot listening in, which I think is great on the one side. Ethically on the other side, I'm not so sure. You should let people know that you're recording and transcribing things, but this is something that you do yourself. Definitely do check this out because it seems to be a very good update and they've got a lot of things around it. So they've got a community event on Wednesday the 11th, 4 p.m. CEST, 10 a.m. EDT. And you can also check out the Slack for more details in terms of how it works, what you can do with it. And let me just pull it up. So Olav, this was the announcement that he did, and then in the thread itself, you can see how it works and start taking notes after the meeting, how to try it out, and known issues and limitations. So if you're a Tana user, definitely do check that one out. And if you don't want to do it yourself, Ev has done that for you, and she has a great demo of how AI meeting notes in the new Tana meeting feature works. So another one that's definitely worthwhile checking out, and great video by Ev. Sticking with videos, Brage, he recently posted Tana tabs, or a bit of a short video on Tana tabs and how you can just get the most out of them, how they work, and how hopefully you can implement them into your workflow to make your life easier. So again, well worth the watch if you're a Tana user. And if you're not and you're interested in Tana tabs, definitely worthwhile checking out. And this was a recent one that I saw. It was basically a blog post by the Tana trio, Targay, Graham and Olav, and they posted how the Tana culture manifesto and what they see and what they expect, or what they think you expect from them. So it's a bit of a short read, just going through how we win together, what they're accountable for, their mission, and their promises to us as the users. So definitely worthwhile checking into, and it's nice to see that they're keeping everyone up to date. Octarine, they've got version 26.4 out, and it includes paper types, so 6 new writing backgrounds, and you can switch between these in the settings. You've also got git sync and attachments popover. So the easiest way to see these is actually through the Discord itself, and if you click on the link, you'll get to the Discord, and you can see here the full write-up, so paper types, git sync, attachments popover, and various different other improvements. And the cool thing is that you've got the videos here to see how they work and what you can do with them. So great stuff from Rajat on that one. Keep up the good work. Orca Note, they've released version 1.17.0, bug fixes all round. Right-clicking on inline references now opens the context menu. Map of context has been added to the favorites. PDF blocks now support displays. And the good thing about Seth Yuan is that he posts a brief video of how you can use various different features and functions of the updates that he's implemented within Orca Note. So well worthwhile checking that one out and just keeping up to date with it, because it is an app that's coming along very nicely. AFFiNE, they had a big release, version 0.22.0, so after a bit of time of silence, if you will, they've now come back with quite a bit of updates, so code block and HTML block, AI workspaces, new old docking collections, databases, and they are testing out the Android amongst a number of other things. And if you want to see the full update with various different demos of what you can do, check out the link and goes to their blog page, and you can see the various different updates. And I thought this one was great, code block plus HTML block. So you can see HTML, it's got an HTML block, and it should preview it within the app itself. So that's just on HTML, I believe, for the time being, but it'd be good to see if they can do something for any type of code block. And then you've got the various different other updates with a brief demo of each one as it goes along. So great stuff from the AFFiNE team on that one. Heptabase, a bit of a long write-up, but in the latest version, they've introduced single card sharing, so you can now share individual cards, granting them permission so that they can edit, view, and give them full access. And they've also launched the inbox feature, where every card you capture via the command N shortcut, the mobile app or the web clipper will go directly into your inbox, where you can later organize them as you will. And also they say if you previously used the task app, you and I find it under the to-do. So again, the easiest place is if we just go to Discord and see the announcement, and you can find it here, as well as a couple of demos of how you can use the latest features. So great stuff from Alan and the team on that one. And at the same time, Daniel, he's done a great video on why he believes Heptabase is getting better and better. So if you're interested about Heptabase and the various different updates that have been going on in the past, definitely do check this video out to get a snapshot of where they're at and why Daniel thinks it's getting significantly better. Last up is RemNote. They've released version 1.19.42, and it includes a number of significant things, especially FSRS version 6. So they've updated the space repetition optimizer and scheduler to FSRS version 6 algorithm, and you can enable that in settings and schedulers. They've enabled Chinese search mode, so if you've got Chinese characters and things, you can search that a lot easier. And offline PDFs on mobile, so you can see your PDFs whilst you are on the road and on mobile. And there's a lot more that they've implemented within the changelog, and you can see it here, and it should give you an idea of what they're working towards. So well done to the RemNote team. A very underappreciated app, I think. So that was it for this week. So thank you very much for being here, and I shall see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.